Good morning. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. We're happy to have you. It's not just Robert and me this morning. We got Titans President of Football Operations, Chad Brinker. Somehow, somebody talked him into coming in here to do the radio show today. Chad, thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, anytime. It's not, I guess, the busy time of year for you guys on the front office side of things, on the football ops side of things. This, the opportunity to catch your breath a little bit. You get ready for rookie minicamp. I know the process of putting together a football team never really stops, but, nice to have the draft out of the way and have a class and UDFAS and all those kind of things in place.
Yeah, we're looking forward to rookie minicamp next weekend, and especially as a scout, you get excited because it's like Christmas Day, and you're hoping they look good when they show up.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. And I know fans are fired up about it. It's always nice when you have the number one overall pick. Well, not nice to get there, but nice to have that, to be able to kind of jumpstart this thing as much as humanly possible. I just imagine, though, like you've been here now for a couple of years, so it's not like this is anything new. And obviously you've been in the league for forever and a day, not to age you. But I just wonder what the last 4 months in general for you in particular have been like, with everything that's changed around with the organization, with everything that you guys are trying to accomplish, and obviously the work not done, but how is this kind of falling into place based on how you envisioned it?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we wanted to do is, get a general manager in here that I felt like was a rising star, and Mike Bergonzi. Just like the rest of us, we all got to perform on game day. And I thought Mike has done an outstanding job since he's been here. And it was important to bring someone in that spoke the same language and how we were going to build this program. So, it was just, there's a lot of work that's gone into this, hiring Dave Ziegler and Reggie McKenzie and kind of building out the front office. The most important thing is we got to get good football players in here and start winning some football games, and because the rest of it doesn't matter. But there's been a lot of other things that we're trying to just improve around the building. So I've been really involved in those things.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed, and I'm sure, PR deserves credit for this as well, but the opportunity that you guys gave us to talk to Ziegler and to talk to Reggie and to talk to your national scouts, it's probably as well-rounded or as well-informed as I feel like I've been on how you guys actually go about the process of putting together a draft class and kind of just getting a little more information as to what makes it all work at almost every level. So I really appreciate you guys giving us that access this year. And, they got to hit the field first, but it feels like you're pretty pleased with the way that it all came together and the value that you guys were able to add. I know you talked about 5 picks going in, 9 players coming out, and the whole strategy behind that. Can you kind of help fans understand the strategy of picking up that draft capital and how you kind of weighed the pros and cons of the different offers that you got?
Yeah, when you're a draft and develop franchise, you want as many at-bats at the plate as possible. So it's important to build that draft capital. Draft picks are currency. You want to build a team from the ground up. We want to homegrown, our own superstars, and hopefully we have enough good players that we just can't pay them all. And when those players that we deem are the absolute best and retain those ones, there are other players that will leave the organization and get paid by somebody else, and then we'll get comp picks in return. So what happens is you keep a good balance on your roster between vets and youth, and I just think it's a young man's game, and you want a roster full of young, healthy, aggressive, determined players that are trying to make their way in the NFL. And if you have the right leadership in place to show them what it takes to be a pro and to excel in this league, I think that's a really good combination.
Chad Brinker, president of football operations for the Tennessee Titans, hanging out in studio with us. So I think if there was one word that I had to use to describe Cam Ward, who you selected, who you guys as an organization selected number 1 overall, determined would probably be a good fit there. So many great Cam Ward stories from his entire collegiate career, going back to his high school days and all those different things that have been well documented. at this point. Was there a favorite story that you had when you were doing your research on him and kind of getting ready for the opportunity to talk to him, and then after the fact? Like, I know you guys are very thorough in any organization throughout the course of the process, and I think when guys transfer as much as they have, you get almost a more thorough evaluation because there's so many more different people to talk to, and it can lend to a greater perspective. But there got to have been some great Cam Ward stories you heard while you're getting ready for this.
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever heard at the level that we heard it, whether it was at Washington State or even at Miami, just how people felt about Cam and just the infectious personality that he had, the leadership qualities that he had. I had a chance to see him in the fall in person, and I have to admit I kept it to myself, but I had seeing him throw the football and the physical traits that he had was, it made you, it gave you a little bit, some goosebumps, I think. And I was excited about him, but at the same time, there was just a lot more to learn about Cam. And as we came together as a group in the winter, around February before the combine, I've done a lot of work on him. Mike came in, did a lot of work, Reggie, Dave, all of us, and we came together as a group. We spent probably 2 weeks in the room late at night, evaluating every single game of Cam Ward from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami. And I mean, we looked around the room like, wow, this could be a special player. But we needed to figure out who the person was, what type of guy was, because we all know how hard it is to play in this league, especially that position. And you have to be wired right, and you have to be able to see things other people can't see and have the instincts. But he sure looked like on film, he had the spatial awareness, he had spontaneous instincts, he knew where to go with the football. He would take chances, and he's still got a lot to learn. And that doesn't mean he's not going to have, some issues in the National Football League. This is a league that will humble you real fast. But he definitely has all the tools, the mental tools, the physical tools, and then he has the leadership quality. Now, he has to earn it, and he knows that. And he's got to come into an NFL locker room and earn the respect of his teammates. And a big part of that is also performing on the field. So I think us as an organization, because that's the way I look at my role, is looking at the long term, that we got to do a good job of protecting Cam and letting him focus on football. It's exciting. I'm excited to have Cam Ward part of our football team. But at the same time, we just got to be careful. He's going to have a lot pulling at him. And we want to do our part, at least eternally, from an internal side of things, to protect him and allow him to focus on football. I mean, the guy hasn't thrown a pass in the NFL. I mean, he hasn't even been out on the field with us yet. So I just want to be careful that we don't crown the guy before he throws a pass in the NFL.
Oh, you got a thirsty fan base up, Chad.
I know.
You got memes all over Twitter. I got Aaron McNair comparisons running around on the internet.
That's what I'm talking about. The expectations are already through the roof for a first overall pick. But I want to say we have a plan for Cam as he comes in, and we're going to give him everything that he can handle. And I know Cam, he is a competitor. And I expect him to come in and work and do all the things he needs to do. But I just like his approach. He's got a quiet confidence to him. He's humble, but at the same time, he knows he's a good football player.
I want you to kind of spend a little more time on the idea of making him earn it, right? Because, of course, when there is expectations, fairly or unfairly, but when you take a quarterback, number one overall, that guy's probably going to play at some point, if not right away. And for a lot of fans, I know you guys were asked this at the post-draft press conference about not shopping Will Levis during the draft. And I want you to kind of explain as best you can to fans about the idea of keeping that competition in the room and the importance of that, because to your point, he has to earn it whether or not he ends up being the day one starter or not.
Yeah, it's every position in the room. We want to create competition throughout the entire roster. The bottom of the roster is just as important as the top. You want to have every room competitive because it raises the level of everybody in the building. And having Will Levis here, who's a young, talented quarterback that did some good things and still has a lot to learn, and he's growing as a quarterback, to have him in the room as well to compete with Cam, and Cam going out there. And I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence here, but I understand we took Cam number one overall, but both Mike and I come from organizations where we understand, we're playing the long game here, and we want to make sure, Cam is our future. I get that. but we want to bring him along the right way so that when he's ready, that we let him go out there and perform, because he's going to have some tough days. It's the National Football League. But I think having Will in the room is a good thing, too. I mean, Will's got some physical traits that are impressive. He's smart. He works hard. I just think it's going to be really good to have that type of competition in the room. And it'll even elevate Cam's play, I believe.
Titans President of Football Ops, Chad Breaker, hanging out here with us in studio. They just put together a 9-man draft class, a bunch of UDFAs. Are we commenting on UDFAs yet?
Not yet. We will soon.
Okay, at some point. Because I know there's reports out there about a receiver that people are very excited about. So at some point, I would like to talk to you about that. But with all the different things that you guys have gone about trying to address and ultimately addressing, whether it be in free agency, obviously free agency doesn't end. There's post-draft. You continue to sign players, churn the roster throughout the course of the camp and the season that's upcoming. How did you guys prioritize the needs that you had while not being necessarily beholden to them in the draft, if that makes sense? Because you're going to come away looking around and being like, all right, we could use, an extra pass rusher here or an extra wide receiver there. What was the process for you guys as an organization to kind of come up with, all right, this makes more sense than that right now?
Yeah, a lot is being said about best player available, and I kind of want to maybe just shed some light on that from a general standpoint.
Please.
When it comes to the best player available, that's our philosophy, right? Every building takes different factors into consideration as they build their board, and for us, number one, can he play? So we got to go to the tape. We got to see, can this guy play football? And the second thing you look at is you look at their physical and athletic qualities. Do they meet our standards for height, weight, and speed at the position? Are they the type of athlete that we're looking for? And then number three, you look at the personal character. You look at the football character. Are they wired right? Do they love the game of football? And then what we mean by loving the game of football, that is loving Monday through Saturday. There's some guys that love to play on Sundays or love to play on Saturdays, but they don't necessarily love all the work that you got to put in throughout the week. So we want guys that are willing to, that love the weight room, that love the film room, that are just gym rats. And then there's a medical component to this that affects our draft board. And then ultimately there's a projection part of this where we as scouts are projecting from our instincts, but also there's some data and looking at history and using the analytics to see what that projects. And then ultimately there's a value piece of this as well. Premium players at premium positions with premium picks. There are just certain positions on the field that impact the outcome of games more than others. And you got to draft those premium positions higher in the draft because they're just not going to be available later. So that's like a general overview of best player available. So it can be different for every team. But as we went into this, that's kind of, there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. But that's a general sense that when we go through our process of building a draft board and looking at our roster and understanding, I think pro scouting acquisitions is an area where you can fill needs. The draft is where you build your football team, the core of your football team. So that's why we did what we did in the free agency period. It didn't matter if Cam Ward was going to be the quarterback, which, I think back then we were like, this could be. I didn't care. I don't care if it was Cam or Will Levis or whoever it was going to be our quarterback. We had to fix the offensive line. We had to address that, and that's why we attacked it the way we did.
Yeah, certainly Titans fans can relate to that over the course of the last couple of years. As you mentioned, you and Mike and Brian, all of you guys coming from organizations that had to get to a point where they established a winning culture and an identity and things like that, but it took a period of time. What's been the most difficult part of the last couple of years for you to get to the point where you think you're on the precipice of starting to build that foundation there?
Well, let's start with the football team first. I mean, even during the draft, there were players that we would have loved to have, and maybe they were picked ahead of us or whatnot. And there were other players that were super talented that we would have loved to have too, but we just didn't feel like our culture was ready to absorb that type of risk. So we had a very specific plan going into this draft to build the foundation of our roster with guys who love football. Like I said the other day, big, fast, tough. I'll throw smart in there as well. And guys that just love the game, love winning, put the team first before the team goals before individual goals. So those were things that were important to us to get our kind of guys in the building. that are wired right, that are smart, tough, and dependable. There's a DNA that we're looking for in our players, and that's how you start changing the culture. And then if you go off the field, for me, it was, really building the front office with the right people as well. This structure only works with the right people in place. And we got unselfish guys at the top, low ego guys at the top. I love that Dave and Reggie have been in the chair before. They've been in position where they had to pick in the, I think Reggie had a number 5 pick overall his first year, took Khalil Mack. Dave Ziegler had a top 10 pick before. They've been through it. They've been there. Where Mike is a first-time GM, and we got to do everything we can to help him, focus on the things that makes him great, which guy's really good with the clicker in his hand. Like, he's a really good evaluator while he's learning the other aspects of the business, and that's where I may have been able to support him in the other areas, and as we continue to build out. So you're really building a culture from the ground up, and that takes time. I know a lot of people, like you said earlier, I think you used, patience over panic. I've used that phrase before because it takes some time to build a football team. And but at the same time, we have certain measurables that we're tracking, goals that we want to see. We need to see improvement in different areas across the organization, and we're going to hold people accountable to that.
Y'all call the film room the cave.
Yeah.
Longest day in the cave this pre-draft process. Most taxing, maybe.
Oh, boy, that's
because I'm sure there are some stories where it gets, it gets grimy. People are looking around. You haven't seen daylight in a couple hours, and it's just, what are we doing here?
There's no doubt. I mean, February, when we were preparing for the combine, we're going through every player in the country with our area scouts, with our national scouts. And then we would send them home around 8 o'clock, 8:30 maybe. And then Mike and myself, Reggie, Dave, and even John Salge, our director of college scouting, we would stay in that room at night. There's many late nights. I'm not going to, a lot of football people like to brag how hard they work. I don't want to do that because I think a lot of people in other professions work really hard too. But I would just say we spent many, many late nights in that film room together. And that's just, we don't know any other way. That's what we know. That's what Mike learned during his time in Kansas City. That's what I knew in my time during Green Bay. There's no shortcut to get there.
It must be nice, Robert, to not work with show ponies, low ego, selfless people. That's not our industry at all, is it?
Who are you? I need a cave tour. I need to know what snacks are there.
No,
I need to know what the chairs are
tour.
like. No, you're not allowed to go. It's just me. Just me. You're on the cave tour.
Brian is kind enough to lend himself to this nonsense that we're doing tomorrow night at the Analog. Greg Cosell, we're going to break down some tape of these rookies, these free agents. He's sending me plays that he wants to break down. Is there a tape or a game in particular, any one of these draft picks that you would like for us to kind of work into the proceedings here? Because I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and Titans fans are fired up about it.
Yeah, you talking about this draft picks? I would, one of the games that was really impressive to me, there was 2 with Cam Ward. It was the Cal game when he brought him back. I thought that was a really impressive game. And then he made some throws.
It's one of the most ridiculous football games I watched all season. The officiating at the end, we don't get into.
Right. But he made some throws in the Louisville game, too. It was pretty impressive. The touchdown he threw in the back of the end zone, you're just like, there's only so many people on the planet that can actually make that throw. So that was pretty cool. When you look at, I think you can throw the tape on with Femi. Femi's been, he hasn't played much off the edge, and that's another projection type pick. But the guy plays, he's quick off the ball. He's got length. He's got power in his hands. He knocks back tackles. He's still learning how to counter, how to set up, the edges of the tackle. But every game I put on of Femi, he was playing really hard. And then Kevin Winston Jr., we're really excited to get him. I mean, being 6'1.5" to, what is he, 215. He ran a 4.51 5.5 months after ACL surgery. That guy has serious potential to be a good player in this league. He looks the part. You want that guy getting off the bus first. And he loves ball, and he's in the film room all the time. He's been impressive. And DK has some really good games there at Florida we were excited about. Ellick, we've all seen some of the stuff that he has done on the field. Jackson Slater was really good at the Senior Bowl. A lot of people, I think that's where they really noticed him. which he did a really good job. And Mullins, just USC game. That was a pretty good game for Mullins, where he was running through the defense. Did I miss anybody?
No. Marcus Harris. But,
Marcus Harris.
I think,
the corner.
He talked a lot about playing against Cam Ward both times at Idaho and at Cal. So
he did. Yeah.
I think he was pretty happy to have that guy on his team.
So I gave you a lot of games to run through.
Trust me, Greg has been burying me in plays that he wants for us to pull. So we're in the process of that, and we're looking forward to getting that done with Brian and the rest of the group tomorrow night. We really appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Robert, you got any notes back there? How did I do?
I do. If I'm evaluating you as a prospect, Buck, you're pretty stiff. Just because somebody's in a suit in here doesn't mean you got to tense up like that.
That's the Botox.
And just looking at you, it kind of feels like you telegraph your next questions. I can see you sitting in the chair. You're sinking your hips. You're giving away your route. That's pretty tough. And you get caught looking in the backfield a lot. Not a trigger downfield type guy. I got you as a UDFA, honestly. I'm not wasting a pick on you.
I'll deal with you later. Thanks for hanging out, Chad.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
I'm Buck Reising. It's 104.5 The Zone.